So, yeah, and while I was cleaning it up, I remembered all my lessons I've taught myself about fixing audio. And I was going to go through and fix all my really quiet audio, which is pretty much all the ones from the Cheap Detective, but yeah, I didn't have time. Oh yeah, I can definitely teach you. I can give you any of the ones I have that you want as a starter, and then I'll show you how to use Stream Elements. It's honestly super straightforward. Stream Elements has like a learning curve at the very beginning when you first start setting it up. But once you get in there and get the initial stuff down, it's really easy to add store items and things like that. Yeah, I'd be happy to. What have I done this week? Honestly, I only played some practice of this game yesterday and today, since I was gone in Iowa all week. So I actually did not get much practice in. We're replaying this chapter because we only started it.
Welcome to hell.
So I guess I'll let this cutscene play real quick.
These are the gates. Whatever your friend did to get on the other side of these, let's just say she's not having a good day.
No, she isn't, little one. But she'd still be alive if she hadn't wasted her life saving mine.
Huh? Well, she doesn't seem like such a bad friend after all. Fimbulventer can wait for now. I'm opening the gate.
Well, thank you.
Oh, I can't just leave you at a shattered gate after
Oh.
your sob story, love.
Wait till I show you.
Besides, who's gonna save you if our
There's
stalker
some
decides to show up
costume
again?
customizations, and they're not full
Alright.
costumes, but they're little
Let's do
pieces
this.
you can add based on some of the weapons. And I have a feeling you're gonna love the one
Try
for the
to keep
bow.
up.
Actually, I'm wearing one right now. So you can see the little mini bat wings, and she's got horns on too. Those are the additions for Chernobog, which is the creepy scythe that I have equipped. And if I switch to the bow, we get a fantastic hat with a big old feather and a bandana around her neck. And that is to go with the creepy bug bow. As soon as I saw that, I was like, Elvie's gonna love this. Yeah, so it's interesting because yeah, with in the last game, the customizations were like full costumes, so they took a lot more time to load. But these just kind of get put on top of her existing ones, so I think it looks way smoother and it doesn't take a whole bunch of time. And it's instant when you switch between them. But yeah, I figured you would like that. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yep, I need to buy that one. Ah, yes. Anyway, so this is hell. It's a pretty interesting take on hell, I think. Well, technically we're at the gates of hell, I suppose, is the proper term. That is apparently the gate to hell. Probably that portal in the middle of it. But we're going to be very fashionable on our way to hell, I can tell you that much. So yeah, we've seen some of these fights that I'm going to do. But just to make sure I didn't miss anything, I did play through this entire chapter yesterday, just to ensure I knew where I was going. So tonight it shouldn't take too long to get through it. And it is funny because I think my finishing time for the chapter is like 11 minutes, but it feels like so much longer. And I think it's because the time doesn't count the cutscenes. One thing that did not change is the fact that I have not gotten that much better. So I'm still a absolute mess with some of these new weapons and stuff. But we have fun, that's what matters. I still love the fact that when you're fighting enemies from hell, as opposed to the angels, you have the different gate. So for the angels, that's when it's that gold gate with all the symbols, and she blows a kiss at it. But for the demons, it's that red gate that's shaped like an eye, and she instead shoots the heart of bullets at it. Little touches make this game fantastic. Zara and I were actually talking a little bit about it Saturday. Oh, I just noticed the tail too. You get the horns, the wings, and the tail. Oh my god, that's adorable. Is there a third piece to this one that I missed? Chance? No, I don't think so. The hat, the feather, and the bandana. It's still very stylish though. But we were talking about one of the really nice things that we liked about Bayonetta 2 is the fact that when you start this game as Bayonetta, you are very powerful. You can fly, like you're literally the very first chapter. You're flying around with like angelic demon wings. Angelic demon wings. That's a I can't word good tonight. You guys know what word I mean though. That's a confusing statement. But yeah, you start off the game being really powerful, which is even your average like sequel to an RPG. You usually start off pretty weak, even if you've come as a character from the first game. You have to re-earn everything. But in this game, Bayonetta starts out being super strong and able to do a lot of things, which honestly goes with the territory of how much faster and more difficult this game is. So I like it. But yeah, that also means that my learning curve has been very sharp. But as long as I enjoy all my dying. Wow, fuck. Oh wait, my weapon ripped. Sorry, dude. But how did it? Oh, I picked up a half-broken one. Son of a bitch.
So close.
That was not very good. Yeah, when I beat this yesterday, I actually had a pretty damn good score for the whole chapter. I don't think it's going to happen tonight. That's still a platinum, though. Let's see. Let me do my usual weekend recap. So, actually, I can talk a little bit about the trip that I was on, since we all know at this point that I was in Iowa. So it was a casino hotel type deal, one of our usual type of clients. They were upgrading their point of sale system to the newer version, which is pretty much, I'd say, usually like 50 or 60% of the work that I do is specifically in that category. Originally, it was supposed to be me and two other people. I was the lead, but there were going to be two other people from the company coming out there to help me do all this. Just because of the size of the park and the client's a fairly important one. You know, they didn't want to just have me going there by myself. But thanks to all the COVIDs, they decided, first of all, to delay. This is the one that, if you guys recall, has been delayed multiple times. And then on top of delaying, when they finally did get a solid opening date from the governor, which is actually tomorrow, it's Monday. They are only opening one of their like 13 or 14 outlets. So of the 34 workstations that they have that were upgraded, only 2 of them are going to be used this first week. So that, because of that, because of that, they decided to only send me, not send any of my coworkers. And because they weren't opening till next week, originally we assumed that maybe Wednesday, Thursday at the latest, I'd already be going home. Obviously that was not the case. So what happened is I got in Thursday night, set up the training room, met the IT guy, which was, it's always apprehensive at first when you're in my kind of line of work. You do a lot of remote work, so you talk to people and, hey Amber, you interact with them from a distance through email and phone calls usually. But at some point, usually you're going to be going on site to install stuff. So it's always kind of apprehensive, especially there's some people with, I'm just going to put it, certain attitudes and certain styles of talking. It's probably the most polite way to put it. You get a little nervous when you need to meet them in person because you don't know if they're going to be as impatient, perhaps is the right word, as they are on the phone or on the computer. Oh, hey, she was doing audio only. Well, at least you can combine what I'm saying plus chat. And then at some point down the road, you can watch it on YouTube. You're getting the full Bayonetta experience. I actually did upload the last episode from Bayonetta 1. That's all on YouTube now, so I can actually start processing the clips from Bayonetta 2 and putting those on YouTube. It's a husband party plus Ember. So anyways,
Just remembered.
the plan was that I would get in Tuesday night, set up a training room, and then do the training Wednesday morning, maybe do some troubleshooting, and hopefully leave Thursday morning. Maybe at the latest Thursday night, because we kind of figured only 2 things are opening. Most of the work is already done. No big deal. Blah blah blah. Well, hell, we were idiots. So the training itself actually went great. There were very few things in the system that need to be fixed, which made sense because I did the programming months ago, and they've had a lot of time to look at it and make notes and all that good stuff. The problem is all the different interfaces they have. So the word interface, when referring to point of sales, is usually the registers connecting to something else for payment or for information. So in a casino, for example, they have a player's interface, which sounds fun, but player's club, as in like, what do you call it? Loyalty points or membership points for the different arcade games, not arcade games, but the different electronic casino games, like video poker and all those. Most casinos have some kind of players club where the more you gamble, essentially, the better your membership level, and you can get various discounts and have stored value. So you never have to actually pull out money to play with the games. You can use them all with your player's card. Anyways, the company that does most of these, interesting enough, is Konami, as in, the Konami. They have their own little video game thing that they do, of course. A couple of small titles that they've done here and there. But a large part of their business is, I can't remember if I have to go back now or after the portal. Let's go check real quick. A large part of their business is players clubs. So what they do is, even though not all the electronic games are Konami brand, but usually most of them interface with Konami. And so what that means is that if you have a Konami membership, you can actually go to all these different hotels and use your same card everywhere. And never once have to pull out cash or anything like that. And your loyalty moves between hotels and casinos and all that good stuff. So anyways, they have a Konami interface, which lets you use your Players Club points to buy a sandwich, for example. They have a front desk interface, which is the basic, you can use a room charge to pay for things. And they have a gift card interface, because they don't use a standardized gift card, of course, because that would be too easy. They have their own custom gift card system that they use. So those are their 3 big interfaces, and none of them were working during training. So I did the training without it. That wasn't a big deal, but the IT guy that I mentioned, who is, we'll just say difficult because we're polite, he was very nervous about that. And I don't really blame him. I can't really be upset at him for that. Those are the 3 major parts of the system, and none of them are working. So one of the first things he said is, "You're not planning on leaving tomorrow, right? I know you were going to leave early." I was like, no, I'm here for you guys. My job is to make sure you're up and running. If I stay another day, I stay another day. It's no big deal. I still kind of in the back of my mind assumed I would be done by the end of the next day. But no, it took a lot of troubleshooting, a lot of finger pointing, because of course they didn't want the blame to be on them. They wanted it to be on the system, or my programming, or the interface programming. I think of all the problems that we encountered before things got working, only one of it wasn't their own issue. 9 times out of 10, when it comes to interfaces not working, the system is due to their own network. Different clients all have different network settings and network standards. Some of them are very laid back and have wide open networks, which isn't great for security, but really great for people like me, because it means we don't have to do any extra work. Things just talk to each other. And then you have the other end of the spectrum, which is this guy, for example. He has a very, very secure network, and I'm sure the casino's glad that he does, because it's a casino. Their clients spend a lot of money, so it's probably important that they keep their network secured. But all the same, the level of security that they had meant that all these systems were not able to talk to each other. So, in a nutshell, it took a few hours of me convincing them that it was in fact their problem and they needed to make an adjustment before all of a sudden all three of them started working. So that at that point I was like, okay, I'll just leave Thursday night. No big deal. Still ahead of schedule because I was supposed to leave Saturday. Right? Yeah, it was, I mean, you get used to this. You never want to just outright blame them, of course, because at the end of the day, we are a customer service environment. So we're not trying to blame people for issues, but if we can't fix it, we have to get to that point eventually and make it clear that if they want it to work, they need to take a look at the problems that we've listed out. So after all that was resolved, credit cards weren't working. That's, as you can imagine, that's also a major issue. Credit cards are pretty much universal these days. And I think pretty much almost all of Thursday was spent on credit cards. By the end of Thursday, they still weren't working. So then it went into Friday. The credit cards were a real bitch in particular, more so than usual. I've bitched about credit cards before because I've done so many upgrades lately. The company that we do most of our credit cards with is called Shift4. They're one of the United States' largest credit card processors. And when I say a credit card processor, it means that's the company that is basically the middleman between you putting your card in the machine and it reaching Visa or MasterCard. The processor is the one who makes the secure transaction and gets the payment to the right location. So anyways, Shift4 is usually quite good, but in this case I got like 3 or 4 reps in a row who really didn't know their shit. Like, really didn't know what they were talking about. So there was, and on top of everything else, with COVID going on, everyone's opening up. Because right now it's the time across the United States where all the businesses are starting to reopen, which is great for them, but bad for businesses like Shift4, because all of a sudden every single restaurant, every single mom and pop hotel, every single little boutique that runs their credit cards, who hasn't been open for 3 months, all of a sudden needs to make sure their credit cards are working. So my wait time on Shift4 is usually about 5 minutes. I think I was on hold for a total of 4 hours on Friday, or sorry, on Thursday. That was for multiple calls. So I called them multiple times, and altogether, I guarantee you, I was on the phone for 4 to 5 hours, just waiting to talk to someone or being transferred. And again, normally I have a really good experience with them. Their help desk is usually pretty damn on point. They usually don't stick you with someone who doesn't know what they're doing. But I guess it was just my unlucky day, because everyone that I talked to, with the exception of this one chick, like at 7 p.m. on Thursday, was just out of the loop and clueless. At one point, I literally told them word for word what the problem was. And it was kind of a guess, but I was 95% sure of it. And you guys know me by now. I try not to come across as an asshole. So I was trying to very politely explain, I've seen this before. I think I can see where the issue is based on what I see on the receipts and the error I'm getting, blah, blah, blah. And this, I mean, honestly, I felt bad for her because she was trying, but it was just clear she was not aware of what I was saying. And I said, this is what needs to be fixed. Can you get the data entry team on it? And she just kept saying, well, this error could also mean this or this. And I'm like, yeah, it could. It could mean that. But based on what I see here, I'm pretty sure it's this. Well, I'm going to need to have someone else look at it. I'm like, okay, well, if you could maybe just pass it to the data entry team while you do that. Yeah, we're going to have to look at it first. And that was why I ended up calling back at like 7 o'clock that night. Luckily, they're 24/7. So I called back late, and I got this, the lady who I talked to was absolutely fantastic. I wish I could get someone like her every time. She listened to what I was saying, and then she immediately said, where have you seen this before? And I explained it, and I told her where to look, and she didn't interrupt. She just said, okay, let me take a look. And after about 3 seconds, she's like, "Oh yeah, I can see the problem. It's exactly what you're describing. I've seen this before too." And I said, "Has it, by chance, did it go to the data entry team yet?" She's like, "No, it was still waiting for an expert to look at it." She's like, "I'll get it into their queue, and it should be taken care of by 7 o'clock in the morning." I was like, "Awesome." And sure enough, in the morning, as soon as I got back to the hotel, or the casino rather, I tried a credit card before I even found my IT guy, and it worked right away. So that was nice. So anyways, so I got credit cards working Friday morning. At that point, I was like, all right, sweet, Friday morning, I can leave. Well, then, of course, they wanted to get their tablets up and running, which they hadn't done yet. So I spent my entire Friday morning and early afternoon getting these tablets configured, which they are also a bitch. But I did get them up and running like around 3 or 4. And at that point, he said, okay, the only thing we need to do is make sure that the actual terminals that we're going to be opening with on Monday are working. And I kind of laughed to myself, like, I was here all week and we never once actually looked at the terminals that you're going to be opening with. We've looked at every other issue there is and gotten workstations you're probably not going to use for a month, but we never took the time to look at these. So I agree, let's go do that. So, of course, those were having problems too, related to credit cards. So it was like 5:30 before I actually left the casino to go to the hotel to pack up and drive home. So it was a hell of a week. Drive home was nice at least. I was going way too fast the entire way, as I tend to do. Most of the roads between Iowa and Wisconsin are country roads. But I was actually surprised. A lot of them were 65 instead of 55. So I was going 70. I always go 9 over, unless I feel absolutely safe to go faster than that. But yeah, I went about 74 for most of the time on cruise control, and honestly, it was just fine. At one point, I went to a gas station. I actually think I messaged the group, and I finally did this right. While I was getting gas, there was this chick in a car next to me, and she had her door open, but she wasn't getting gas. She was just sitting there, and there was a sheriff walking up to her. So I was kind of listening while I was getting the gas, because, you know, morbidly curious. And he was basically asking her what her name and license were, and she didn't want to give it to him. And I'm like, am I really going to see some crazy shit while I'm trying to go home? So I went in to grab some snacks, and the lady behind the counter was just staring through the window. She's like, this is the 3rd time today that the sheriff's come by. And mind you, this is in a town of like 60 people. Okay, it was like 600, but it was smaller than the little village I live in. And the fact that, yeah, she's like, yeah, the sheriff's already stopped 3 different people at my station today. It's been an exciting evening. And then by the time I walked out of the store, there were 3 sheriff's cars for this one, like, 80-pound girl in her car. And then at the end of it, they just let her go. So I don't know if they were bored or all stopping together to get coffee. I don't know. It was just really awkward to see these 3 sheriff SUVs all surrounding this little tiny Toyota piece of shit. So that was interesting. And then after that, one of the sheriff vehicles followed me out, which honestly, as soon as I saw them, I knew there was gonna be something up there, you bitches. As soon as I saw the sheriff cars, and I'm like, okay, they're gonna see me out of state plates, and either gonna ask how I'm doing or someone's gonna follow me. And sure enough, they followed me for like 1.5 miles down the road, which, whatever, it's not the end of the world. And I was a good boy. I drove like 2 over instead of 9 over until I saw the sheriff pull off an exit behind me. So I immediately went back to going 74. And then probably 10 minutes down the highway, as I'm humming along, I look to the right and see a 4th one. I know it couldn't be the other ones because there was no way they could have gotten there in time. But a 4th sheriff car from the same county was pulling up to the intersection while I'm going like 9 over. And I'm just like, son of a bitch, I'm going to get my ticket today. Nope, he didn't even slow down or even look at me really. So yeah, that was, I wasn't going to ask about that. I was just gonna keep going and keep an eye on the rear view and make sure there was no one coming after me. So yeah, interesting drive home. And I think I mentioned this already, but I passed, let's see, there was a rabbit that was trying to die, and I had to, oh god, you son of a bitch. I had to rapidly switch lanes while doing my 75-mile-an-hour rush to avoid it. And then there was a cat that scrambled across the middle of the road. Oh, goodbye with the train. The cat narrowly missed the front of my car. And then after the cat, there were not one, not two, but 3 deers that all were like staring at me from the side of the road. So pretty interesting drive home. Quiet at least, and I didn't hit anything other than bugs. Luckily, I don't have too much else to the story, so Shu's not going to miss much. Basically, though, what that all rounded out to is I got home at like 10 o'clock Friday night. Pretty tired, you know. Driving doesn't make me tired. I love driving. I could drive all day, all night. And I actually enjoy driving at night more than driving at day. But I was just tired from the week at the casino. It's not unusual for installs to be like 15, 16-hour days sometimes. Mine were closer to like 14, 12 to 14 most days, which you get used to it. And again, it's like it's only for a few days usually, so it's not like it's a constant thing. But still, when you're used to working remotely at home from a desk, and then you go to working in a very cramped space and then running around and walking around and standing for 12 hours a day, working with very impatient people that you don't know, it gets to be very physically and mentally exhausting. So I was pretty pooped already by Saturday morning. Luckily, we were not cleaning Saturday, and we were just gonna go ride horses. So Zare was kind enough to sign us up for a later time. Normally we go like at 8 in the morning, but he signed us up for 11, so we got to sleep in a little bit Saturday morning. And then I actually played a little bit of XCOM Chimera Squad, and I didn't beat it, but I got like to the last mission that morning, and then we got dressed and went to the barn, rode horses for 4 or 5 hours, came back home, and then today we cleaned stalls. So been busy. Poop to dick. I like that. I like that because it's, although at the same time it's also a little misleading because dick is a good thing, but I still like it better than poop. So I'm with you on that one. That was pretty dicked. Let's see. Horse-wise, I know I've been not complaining, but talking about poor Zara and her woes lately. So Saturday she was still pretty stiff, pretty sore. I just felt super bad for her. It was very visibly hard for her to move around. She didn't run that much, and her feet are actually doing pretty good. And that was the thing, because I was treating them every day that I was there, and then I was supposed to be a good boy and text the barn owners to ask them to do her feet while I was gone. I remembered once out of 5 days. Oh, I'm a shitty horse owner, and I know it. Hopefully Zara forgives me. So they only did it one day. They might have done it other days. They said they'd try to remember, but to text them. And of course, because I was so busy, I forgot most of the time. But her feet are actually doing pretty good, to be honest. They're not bubbling nearly as much, which tells me that the majority of feet growth is gone. So most of that bacteria should be done with. And so Saturday, when I noticed that her feet were still fine, but she was still kind of bobbing her head and dipping a little bit when she walked, I was like, man, it could just be that she's really sore still. It could be a joint thing. And, you know, I mean, she's 20. It's getting up there for a horse. She's not a baby. So I was starting to get a little bummed and worried. I'm like, maybe I'm just too big for her. I'm not a small person, but she's not a giant horse. So, you know, I was just kind of getting to the point where I was like, I need to know what it is. at least. So I was starting to think about, you know, maybe just ask for a vet appointment, which is very expensive to do it on a day when she's not already planning to be there. Because as you can imagine, most sports vets are traveling vets, so they don't just you can't just go to their office. They need to have an appointment to come to your area, or you have to have a trailer to go to them. And since we don't have a trailer, that wasn't an option. So that's where I was at that point. I was like, all right, I just need to suck it up and let her get looked at by the vet. But today she was great, like literally just beautiful. She ran like a champ. We went onto the outdoor arena because it was dry enough. Hey, Bill. So we were able to walk, truck, canter both directions. She didn't hesitate at all, and she loves running. So the fact that she didn't hesitate to do it and then kept going, it wasn't just like a lap and then she was like, okay, I'm tired, I need to take a break. It was like 5 or 6 laps in a row. And the outdoor arena is pretty big, so, you know, that's a good distance. And then we turned around, we did the same thing the other way. And I was like, okay, this is a much better sign. And then I was actually going to keep working, but the other folks who were out in the outdoor, they kind of waved me over, and they're like, hey, isn't that Zare's horse up there? So I look up at the outdoor trail, which is on the other side of all the paddocks, and sure enough, Quattro is just kind of running around up there with no one on his back. So we were all kind of concerned that maybe they were going for a trail ride and Zare fell off or got thrown off, or, you know, we weren't sure. So one of them was actually like, do you want us to open the arena gate for you so you can go check on him and all that? And I'm like, yeah, let's y'all don't mind. So they were very kind enough to open the gate, and I didn't even get off Zara. I just took her and trotted right over. And by the time I got over there, I saw him, and what had actually happened was he was just repairing a part of the electric fence that he saw was down. So we couldn't see him because the angle we were at, their property is probably about, you know, 1.5 acres or so. It's decently sized. So yeah, we just couldn't see him. And by the time I got over there, he's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm coming to check to make sure you're not like concussed or rolling down a hill or something. He's like, no, I'm fine. I'm just fixing the fence. And Quattro was just running around like an idiot waiting for me. So yeah, all was well. Horses live to be, I mean, it's like any pet, obviously it can vary. The oldest horse I think we have at the barn is 27 or so, maybe 28. And that is pretty old for a horse. I'm going to say that's probably above average. Your average horse age, if they're, you know, in good health and work regularly, it's probably like 24, 25. And again, very important that they work. Horses are creatures who absolutely love to work. It's not like people say that to feel better about themselves. It literally gives them a longer life. Which, I mean, it's true for people too when you think about it. It's not quite the same as always doing physical work, but you know, you keep your brain busy and you're probably going to be healthier in your old age. It's very similar for horses. If you keep their brains and their bodies busy and give them things to do, they're going to live much longer and happier lives. And there's proof both with Zara, like I said, she's 20 and she's already back to being one of the fastest horses there. And Lacey, the other horse I ride, the old Arab, she's like 23 or 24. And she is one of the fastest horses there. And when I get on her, like I said, I'm 280 pounds, 6'4", and I'm not a small person. And Lacey is smaller than Zara. She is maybe 900 pounds, which is pretty small for like a horse. And she will carry me nonstop 45 minutes, just at a full tilt. So if you work a horse regularly, Arabs are they're very fast, and they're meant to be endurance horses, which makes sense, you know, desert and all that good stuff. So yeah, Arabians run and keep running. What I learned about quarter horses, which is what Zara is they are actually one of the world's fastest sprinters. I didn't realize that. I thought you know, thoroughbreds are usually considered the fastest sprinters, but distance-wise, thoroughbreds are faster because they run like, you know, they do the track meets and they do like the full half and full mile. Over that distance, thoroughbreds are generally faster, but apparently quarter horses will outdo even a thoroughbred on like the quarter mile, because they are just like little speedy sprinters. So yeah, my horse is a quarter horse, and the other horse that I love to ride is an Arabian. Clearly, I like the old fast ladies. That's just apparently my my genre. Also, I'm gonna point out I got another gold, which is what I got earlier or last night when I did this. And the whole time I was talking, and I did better and had a better time. Huh. Clearly, I need to just find stuff to ramble about when I'm playing Bayonetta. Anyways, so that was that chapter.